How's it going, everybody? I'm the best that is the best that was the best that ever will be. There'll be none before me, and there'll be none after me. Therefore, I am the one and only Jay Covey, and welcome to Wrestling Made Simple. We got an action-packed week this week with your news of the week, followed by your SmackDown and Raw reviews. And then we have a review of what is called one of the worst Royal Rumble decisions ever in 2015. So last week we did 2014. This week we'll do 2015. And we will also have a review of Hard to Kill, TNA's newest pay-per-view. And then we will go the Battle Droid of the Week. No reading from the Book of Rules and no Drink of the Week this week. Let's get into it, though, as WWE is working on a project to honor a former superstar, Bray Wyatt. Apparently, they are looking to make like a documentary on him, and it will be released on YouTube or save for a documentary on Peacock, or A&E. Bo Dallas is going to be helping working on it as well. He is currently not been on WWE TV since the passing of his brother, and the Uncle Howdy gimmick was dropped. So it's going to be cool to see him have a really cool way to send off his brother. And we have an update on Sabu's health. For those of you who don't remember Sabu, ECW original, one of the best ever set foot in an ECW ring, has made a name for himself all over by wrestling extreme matches, jumping over top ropes, using chairs, through tables. It's been amazing. He has an amazing career, but unfortunately, it's taken a toll. As he has said, he doesn't really feel bad, but his body feels pretty bad. As his knees, his back, and his shoulders, they all apparently are needing surgery now. You put yourself through the ringer, man, and that's what unfortunately is going to happen. I hope that he gets the surgeries he needs, and I hope it is a success and we see him back doing what he loves very soon. And to end on some good news, WWE two-time Hall of Famer Hulk Hogan has apparently saved a woman from a car involved in a car accident. The shaken driver was helped from a car accident with his son Jake. Very cool to see. It's awesome to see Hulk Hogan being in the news for something good for once in a while. As usually it's been scandal after scandal with Hulk Hogan, or what he should have been doing in WWE, and how he's been telling lies about his career. But it's awesome to see him finally get something good in the books for once. So that's a good way to end it. I was going to talk about Cora Jade. For those of you who don't know, Cora Jade tore ACL. Hopefully, quickest recovery to her. Supposed to be 6 to 12 months. I hope that she gets back very soon. Let's go to SmackDown, though. SmackDown kicked off with Cameron Grimes going to take on Grayson Waller, but unfortunately that match never got underway as the Bloodline took him out. Solo Sikoa and Jimmy Uso attacked Cameron Grimes. Paul Heyman then took the mic and called out the James Bond wannabe Nick Aldis for booking Roman Reigns in the Undisputed Fatal 4-Way match. It has told Heyman that the Bloodline will be in the main event against Randy Orton, AJ Styles, and LA Knight. And since Roman isn't here, they would need to find a third partner. We then get Angel and Humberto Los Lotharios versus the LWO of Joaquin Wilde and Cruz del Toro. Los Lotharios was able to pick up the wins. Santos Escobar was on commentary and was then attacked by Carlito. It was a cool match to show what they really do for the LWO plan. The talk is Rey Mysterio might make it back for the Royal Rumble. I don't believe he will if he truly has had knee surgery. I think he'll probably come back. Maybe Elimination Chamber time and just on the road to WrestleMania. So I think we'll get the Santos Escobar match at WrestleMania, which means we won't get another Dominic Rey Mysterio match of the mask versus hair match. That'll probably be saved for WrestleMania 41 and will probably be Rey Mysterio's last match. That's what I would imagine. We then get Bobby Lashley. Actually, I'm sorry. We then get Bianca Belair versus Bayley. It was a good match. Bianca Belair would pick up the win. Damage Control would be on the outside as Bayley would try to go to them for help. The ref was actually on Damage Control the whole time, so they couldn't really help her. It's going to be fun to see Bayley. Bayley's either going to really turn face or she's going to keep the heel, and Damage Control is going to really turn face on her as she's going to be, or it might be a heel by a heel dynamic of you're going to have her be like, you guys weren't there for me and I made you. This is what's happening to me. Blah, and she's just going to go of how she's the better champion, how she's done more and all that stuff, and that's what's going to happen in my opinion, with Damage Control. That's what I'd like to see. I like Billy as a heel way more than I like her as a face. We then get Bobby Lashley coming out with the Street Profits calling out Karrion Kross and the Authors of Pain. Paul Ellering came out and just pointed to the screen and showed a vignette of them now having their new name, The Final Testament. I don't know how I feel about this. Again, the Authors of Destruction I think would be a great name. I don't know how I feel about this pairing up as well. I would like to see them go to Raw or something and maybe team up with someone else. I'm trying to think of who would be better, like a better heel, like maybe CM Punk. That would be a cool one to have the Authors of Pain with him. I don't know. I'm just trying to think of other ways to re-debut the Authors of Pain because they are awesome. And it's cool to see them back, but I don't know. Karrion Kross it doesn't work for me. We did get the almighty Bobby Lashley backstage as Paul Heyman pitched the idea of Bobby Lashley joining the Bloodline. Bobby Lashley says the almighty is more interested in facing Roman Reigns for the title. Thought that was a cool one. All right. Let's keep going. We then get Austin Theory versus Carmelo Hayes, which ended due to a referee stoppage after a crazy spot where both men landed on their heads. Apparently, thank God, they are both fine. No broken necks, no concussions. So thank Christ for that one. You know, you get a lot of people saying, like, oh, when AEW makes a mistake, everybody's on them. But when WWE makes a mistake, it's funny. It's not funny when someone's about to be hurt and their career could be ended. Ridge Holland, I'm still not a Ridge Holland fan, and I never will be because of what happened with Big E. And people were saying it wasn't his fault. It still happened on his watch, man. I mean, Stone Cold Steve Austin will only say he doesn't blame Owen Hart, but Owen Hart lived with that guilt apparently until the day he fucking died. He always said he felt responsible because he was the only Hart to really injure somebody in a match. So yeah, it's hard to think of when you have shit like that going on. We then get Randy Orton, AJ Styles, and LA Knight, yeah, versus the Bloodline in a 3-on-2 handicap match. Orton would hit Jimmy with an RKO to pick up the win. Solo would then attack Orton with a Samoan spike, but Styles hit the phenomenal forearm on Solo. LA Knight would then hit the BFT on Solo Sikoa, and Randy Orton would then hit an RKO. Orton, Styles, and Knight stood tall after triple power bombing Solo Sikoa through the announce table in the old Shield way. Thought that was awesome, and a great shout out to Roman Reigns. I don't know if they're going to take the title off of him at the Royal Rumble. If they do, it would be cool to see. And what I can honestly see happening is, again, you have someone cash in and have him maybe win the title. Then Randy Orton wins it at Elimination Chamber. And there you go. You have Cody Rhodes then go on to face Randy Orton at WrestleMania. Let's move on to Raw as Raw kicked off with the Scottish psychopath Drew McIntyre. Cutting a promo, he was confronted by Cody Rhodes, who reminded him they won the tag team titles once as the Dashing Ones. Drew then said Cody should be himself and stop smiling all the time, stop wearing the suits. McIntyre then said, "You're going to finish the story, but not before I finish mine." Drew said his last match before returning to WWE was against Cody, and Cody asked Drew to remember who won that last match between them. That was a great line, and I thought that was funny. We then get Damian Priest telling R-Truth not to tag in during their match night, as R-Truth is still trying to pretend to be a member of Judgment Day. Thought that was fun. We then get DIY, Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano versus Dominic Mysterio and JD McDonough. DIY would pick up the win. Thought that was a smart move and actually really enjoyed that booking decision. DIY needed a good win to come out as some good faces. We then get Indy Hartwell and Candice LeRae versus Chelsea Green and Piper Niven, the former women tag team champions. And you would actually have Indy Hartwell and Candice LeRae pick up the win. So they're starting to build other talent, which I thought was very cool. We then get Ludwig Kaiser versus Xavier Woods. Xavier Woods would return in a promo challenging Ludwig Kaiser to a match. Ludwig Kaiser would pick up the win after DQ after Woods attacked Kaiser with the commentary chair like Kaiser did to Kofi Kingston. They brawled throughout the match and brawled through the crowd. Kaiser would try to get away as fast as he can. We then get Kira Tozawa versus Ivar and actually picking up the win. That was very funny. Valhalla would then attack Maxine after the match. Ivar took out Tozawa with a spinning heel kick with a followed by a moonsault. Ivar would stand tall, but hey, Tozawa picks up a good win. Good for him. Good for him. We then get a tease to a WrestleMania match that a lot of people do want to see besides Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley. The Man, Becky Lynch, and Rhea Ripley. I think that would be a great match at WrestleMania. It would be a star-making moment if Rhea Ripley were to pick up the win. We then get your undisputed WWE Tag Team Champions, Judgment Day versus the Awesome Truth. It would end as you would have R-Truth actually giving merch money to every member of the Judgment Day. Thought that was funny. But you would actually have Damian Priest hit the South of Heaven on R-Truth, looking sad. Finn Balor would pick up the pin, pick up the win. Yeah, it was fun to see that. I thought this was a good match, and actually a very nice tag team match. Enjoyed it. The wrestling this week has been fun. We then get another match with Zoe Starks and Shayna Baszler versus Natalya and Tegan Nox. Apparently this match was supposed to be cut for time, but Jinder Mahal actually pretended to go use the bathroom or something. I believe I read that on WrestleFeed, so that's a very cool moment, and it really goes to show what kind of man Jinder Mahal is. So shout out to him. Awesome, awesome little show by him. Shayna Baszler and Zoe Starks would pick up the win over Natalya and Tegan Nox. You would actually hear Michael Cole on commentary talking about the main event because he thought that's what was about to happen. But unfortunately, it wouldn't happen. It would be Shayna Baszler and Zoe Starks coming out, picking up the win over Tegan Nox and Natalya. This was probably the worst match on the night, but still a fun match. I don't blame the wrestlers. I blame the crowd. The crowd was dead for this match. We get your main event of Jinder Mahal versus Seth Rollins for the World Heavyweight Championship. Veer and Shanky, I'm sorry, not Veer, not Shanky, Shanga would be out. Viren Shanga of Indus Sher would be out. Jinder Mahal's side. They would actually get thrown out. They would try to help Seth Rollins or help. I'm sorry, my mind's a little blank right now. They would try to help Jinder Mahal so much they would actually hit Seth Rollins with Damian Priest's Money in a Bank briefcase as Damian Priest would be chased off by Drew McIntyre. So I guess this is going to be a feud that's going to follow through for a while. I would actually like to see this feud culminate at WrestleMania and then pull the cash in like they did with Seth Rollins at WrestleMania. Seth Rollins would pick up the win and hit a stomp on Jinder Mahal, retain his title. It does look like he tweaked his knee a bit. He was apparently walking backstage with a limp, but he was walking, which is a good sign. Usually, if it's a knee injury, you're not even able close to walk if it's really bad. So hopefully it's okay, and Seth Rollins won't miss too much time, if any, and he won't change the WrestleMania plans for CM Punk and him at WrestleMania. That's just my hope. Fun week in wrestling so far. Let's move on to Royal Rumble 2015. Now, last week I also talked about a funny thing of kid behind the camera who's still apparently a big WWE fan, and his dad, the Angry Grandpa, who was a huge YouTube celebrity before his untimely passing, I believe in 2016. December 2016, he would pass away. So it's sad to see, but if you actually look in the crowd, you will see both of them in the crowd for this. They made a vlog all about going to this Royal Rumble in Philadelphia from where they lived in North Carolina. So it's funny how these two Royal Rumbles involve both of them. Involve kid behind the camera as well as a couple people really hating these decisions by WWE here. It would start off with Tyson Kidd and Cesaro, with Adam Rose and Natalya versus the New Day in a tag team match. The early days of the New Day, really, they were just starting to try to pick up their really big moments. Still haven't picked it up yet. So you would have actually Tyson Kidd and Cesaro pick up the win on the pre-show match here. You would then have the Ascension versus the New Age Outlaws on the pre-show as well. The Ascension would pick up the win over the New Age Outlaws. Very funny to see the New Age Outlaws actually lose to the Ascension. Again, another team that they were going to build really, really big, but never really got around to building these guys. And eventually they would just become tag team fodder for just a couple building divisions, whether it was Raw or SmackDown. I would never really get a run with the titles. We then go to the main show, the Usos versus retaining their titles against Damien Mizdow and The Miz. Funny to watch this tag team, really is, to see where they were. For those of you who don't know, Damien Mizdow, aka Damien Sandow, was pretending to be The Miz's stunt double, as The Miz's gimmick is basically just a Hollywood movie star. So I think it's always funny to look at that and rewatch, because he will just mimic anytime The Miz gets hit. He'll mimic his moves on the outside of the ring, and then he'll go in the ring and try to do whatever The Miz does. The Usos would pick up the win, even the chance of wanting Mizdow to win. And continuing the tag team matches, we then get the Bella Twins versus Paige and Natalya. This was a fun little match. The Bella Twins would win, and it would lead to a match at WrestleMania of AJ Lee and Paige defeating the Bella Twins. We then get your co-main event of Brock Lesnar defending his WWE title against Seth Rollins and John Cena. Fun little match, actually. You go back and watch. You would actually have Seth Rollins at the time, Mr. Money in the Bank. He was threatening to cash in after the match. It wouldn't happen, as Randy Orton would get a little bit involved. And you would have John Cena try to, as he can, to pick up the win. Brock Lesnar being too strong after coming back, of being put through the announcer's table, they would stretch him off. He would come back in at 5. I believe he had 5 Seth Rollins. Pick up the win, 1, 2, 3. And it's funny of this being a triple threat match involving Brock Lesnar and Seth Rollins, as Seth Rollins would cash in at WrestleMania 31 to become World Heavyweight Champion, make it a triple threat match with Brock Lesnar, this time Roman Reigns for John Cena. Speaking of Roman Reigns, let's move on to the 30-man Royal Rumble. Fun little match. This is oh god, I can't even say fun little match here. It was definitely a different one. You would have R-Truth and The Miz start off the match, and then Bubba Ray would come in, making his return to the company. It's funny to think that he's the Dudley Boy who is in the Royal Rumble, and it actually wasn't Devon, who at the time was more favored by WWE management, as he was never leaving the company. You would then get Bray Wyatt, Eric Rowan, Luke Harper all come in. The Wyatt family would be eliminated and leave just Bray in there. You would then have the Boogeyman come in and have a face-off with Bray Wyatt, which was cool to see. I actually really enjoyed that. That was a fun one to look at. Bray Wyatt would then go ham, basically eliminating a lot of people. Bray Wyatt would last until 25, I believe, being eliminated by Kane and the Big Show. You would then have Sin Cara, Zack Ryder, and then Daniel Bryan would come out. He would actually be eliminated by Rusev and Bray Wyatt, which to the sad calls of many in Philadelphia, as they wanted him to win. Kofi Kingston would come out, make one of his miraculous saves, as Adam Rose would come out with the Rosebuds. You would actually have Cody Rhodes as Stardust in this, and was supposed to start a feud with Goldust that would go to WrestleMania. It never happened. Goldust would go on to be a part of the Andre Giant Battle Royal, and Stardust would go on to be a part of the Intercontinental Championship 6-way ladder match at WrestleMania. It was supposed to be Goldust and Stardust at WrestleMania and a brother show off, but that would be ended kind of after Fastlane. You would then have Roman Reigns come in at 19, wreck house. He would try to eliminate as many people as he could. Roman Reigns would then have Dean Ambrose come in for backup. Dean Ambrose would last until the Big Show and Kane came in. Big Show coming in at 29, King coming in at 24. Big Show and Kane eliminating the whole field that are in there, and it would basically come down to them and Roman Reigns. The Rock would make his return to WWE and help eliminate Big Show and Kane, to the boos of many, as Roman Reigns was kind of being pushed down the throats of everyone as the new John Cena, and they were really rejecting him, like basically kind of like The Rock. So it's funny to look at the comparisons between them. Roman Reigns would win by last eliminating Rusev. To the boos of many, people hated this decision, man. And it's funny looking back now of how much Roman Reigns is loved now to how much he was hated at this time. And I mean hated. And it would only get worse for him after the next WrestleMania 32 and then 33 of him retiring, him looking like he retired The Undertaker, and then WrestleMania 34. It basically wouldn't get better for him until WrestleMania 35 when he had to take time off from cancer and basically beat cancer and came back. So it's fun to look back on this match and go, wow, a lot of shit has changed of who the standard bearers are in WWE. And again, rest in peace to Bray Wyatt. It's just watching this match now as I do for the podcast, I always have the pay-per-view I'm talking about on in the background. So it's just unbelievable. It's just unbelievable. Whew. Alrighty. One last thing to review, and then we go into the Battle Droid of the Week. Let's go into Hard to Kill. TNA is back, ladies and gentlemen. For those of you who don't know, TNA was the secondary promotion to WWE for a long time. They became Impact, Global Force Wrestling. TNA presents Impact. Then they just became Impact Wrestling. And now they're back to good old TNA. You would have a couple pre-show matches as Steve Maclin would defeat Rick Swann. Funny look at Rick Swann as the guy, I believe he was the Impact champion for a while, and then now he's just on kicking off the pre-show. You would then have the system of Eddie Edwards and Brian Myers versus Frankie Kazarian and Eric Young, the guy who actually got me into wrestling as a fan. The system would pick up the win in an 8-minute tag team match. Steve Maclin would defeat Rick Swann, and then you would get a no disqualification match of Crazy Steve versus Tommy Dreamer for a TNA Digital Media Championship. You gotta know this was a crazy, crazy match. Crazy Steve would pick up the win and would have a amazing match by just Tommy Dreamer being the perfect opponent for Crazy Steve. I like how Crazy Steve has put a lot of muscle on. Crazy Steve does not look the same. He looks like he's ready to destroy people. Crazy Steve would pick up the win and become your new digital media championship. We then get the Knockouts Ultimate X match to kick off the main show. Alicia Edwards, Danny Luna, Jody Threat, Tasha Steele, Zaya Brookside, and Giselle Shaw. It would end with Giselle Shaw winning the #1 contendership for the the TNA Knockouts World Championship. You would then get PCO versus Dirty Dango, the former Fandango in WWE. In a singles match, PCO would win by disqualification. It would turn to a 6-man tag team match, as it would be Alpha Bravo, Oleg Produius, I can never say that right, and Dirty Dango versus Jake Something, PCO, and the Man Beast Rhino. Awesome to see that. Really thought that was fun. Rhino and Jake Something and PCO would pick up the win in a nice 7-minute 6-man tag team match. Okay. You would then get Decay of Havoc and Rosemary taking on MK Ultra, Killer Kelly, and Masha Slamovich for the TNA Knockouts World Tag Team Championships. Decay would pick up the win as they were kind of a shocking last-minute addition to the card. Apparently, this was just a last-minute decision of, hey, let's just let them have a cool match and throw the Knockouts Tag Team Championships on the line. And Decay would pick up the win. It was a fun match. I haven't watched TNA in a while, so it's cool to see these guys, still all the guys that I knew from Impact, coming back and being even in better shape than I ever saw them. We would then get TNA X Division Championship match as Chris Sabin would take on El Hijo del Vecchio and Kushida. Chris Sabin would pick up the win in this is their version of Cruiserweight, the Cruiserweight division, the X Division, and Chris Sabin would pick up the win. Great match. Thought this was fun. Chris Sabin, amazing wrestler. Great job by him. Picked up the win and retained his title. We then get Josh Alexander versus Alex Hammerstone, one of the hottest free agents, as he was called in professional wrestling, former MLW heavyweight champion. Fun match. I think Alex Hammerstone should have gone over, but Josh Alexander picks up the win. This is one of the problems I had with this. I feel like a couple of the wrong people went over here. You would then get a fatal four-way tag team match for the TNA World Tag Team Championships. ABC would retain their titles against the Rascals, the Lodero Kid and Mike Bradley, and the Grizzled Young Veterans. How about that one? James Drake and Zach Gibson. Again, I felt like this should have gone Grizzled Young Veterans or to the Rascals. Just my opinion there. We then get a singles match for the women's where TNA Knockouts World Champion Trinity defending her title against Jordynne Grace. Apparently, Bayley and Mercedes Moné were in the crowd to watch this. They were both wearing masks, so you couldn't see who they were. They were just there to support Trinity. Jordynne Grace would pick up the win, almost solidifying that Trinity is going back to WWE. I don't know if it's completely going to happen, as there are talks now that the talks have fallen through. And Trinity might have signed an extension with TNA, and this might all be a swerve. I don't know, but if this is, I could truly see Trinity and Mercedes Moné going back to WWE. Will I be ecstatic? Meh. Will I like it? Yeah. Does it need to happen to really, truly make me, pop? Nah. Will I pop if it happens? Probably. I'd be shocked. I didn't think they would ever walk through WWE. I thought Trinity would walk through WWE doors again. I didn't think Mercedes Moné would. If it does happen, cool. If not, meh. But shout out to Jordynne Grace on picking up the win. Shout out to Trinity. These girls put on a great match. We then get Alex Shelley defending his TNA World Heavyweight Championship against Moose. This was Moose Feast or Fired World Title match. If Moose didn't win, he would be fired. Moose would pick up the win over Alex Shelley, but it's what happened after the match. As during the match, you would actually have the former Dana Brooke show up in TNA, but you would also have another former WWE wrestler show up as Nick Nemeth, the former Dolph Ziggler, would show up and announce he is signed with TNA by ripping off his shirt, showing a TNA shirt underneath. He would then super kick Moose and hit the zigzag and would basically declare he is now in TNA. This was a great job by TNA. Hard to Kill was fun to watch. It's really gotten me excited for the future of TNA wrestling. People are calling them the secondary promotion of WWE, that they're number 2. I don't know. Do I think they're a viable competition for AEW? Yes. Do I think they're viable competition for WWE? No. But time will tell what everyone can do. I truly, Eric Young started off the main show by saying TNA is hard to kill. They have going against everything. So we are TNA and we are hard to kill. And that is completely true. It was Brian Zane who once said, I believe that TNA Impact Wrestling will be running shows until the sun burns out. I completely agree, man. TNA will be going forever. And now finally on to my Battle Droid of the week. The Battle Droid of the Week is an unfortunate thing now. I have dealt with weight issues my whole life. I've always been a bigger guy. But there's something that I've thankfully never really experienced, and that's body shaming. No one's ever looked at me and go, wow, you're really fat and you suck because you're fat. No one's really done that to me, and I'm very lucky in my life. Now, if people were to do it to me, I would just say, okay, I am. I'm fat. I don't care. You know why? Because I'm comfortable who I am. I truly am. And I'll make jokes about, oh yeah, let me get my fat ass up, or I'll tell people where I work, I'll go, yeah, don't worry, my fat butt needs the exercise. Let me go over and do this. And I get a couple laughs because people are like, okay, he gets his life. He understands that, you know what, he is who he is. And you know what, I'm trying to lose weight. I'm trying to be better. But attacking somebody, even when they aren't fat, they might be a little few pounds overweight, or even not, and just a normal person, and you just feel like you need to body shame them. Screw you. You are the worst type of people. And that's what happened to Deonna Purrazzo in AEW. She would make her debut for the company and would be body shamed. Screw you and screw the horse you rode in on. Screw your head and the neck it rode in on. How about that, fuckers? If you feel like you need to body shame someone, look in the mirror and shame yourself. Because there's clearly something wrong with you that you feel you need to do this to people. You people who are doing this to her and are commenting on Twitter, you guys are the Battle Droid of the Weeks. Congratulations.
Uh-oh.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for listening. We are continuing the road to the Royal Rumble. Next week will be our final episode before the Royal Rumble. And then we will be on the road to WrestleMania, ladies and gentlemen. I am so excited. I will be at WrestleMania. I hope to see you guys there. So let's keep the momentum going. Next week we will have our predictions for the show. Thank you very much for listening. I have been the Big Guy. This has been Wrestling Made Simple. I'll see you next week.